Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from GenZ Marketing Agency. And you know that we bring special guests for any of my live webinar. And today we have a special guest, and I wanted to introduce you with Cristian Boyna. And we're going to talk about from good to great, the 10-step lead-to-leap method that can method to scale your success. So we're going to talk about from good to unstoppable, 10-step lead-to-leap method to scale your success. So we have Cristian. Hello, Cristian. How are you?
Hello, Dr. Shah. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You probably know that we done some work last year, and we
Yes.
had some gaps, and now we again started to talk about the lead to leap method. And here, Christian is, I would say, expert on the method, and he developed this method. So I wanted to talk to Christian how he implement his method to increase productivity, to increase organization growth, and all those things. So, Christian, first of all, thank you very much for joining today's live. And I
Thank
want
you for
to
having me.
ask you if you could introduce to the guest a little bit about you and about your method.
Of course, of course. I think, well, hello, everyone. And once again, thank you very much for having me today. But before I talk about business success, growth, or mindset, I want to start with the story because that's very important. 19 years ago, when I arrived to Scotland with no guarantees, with no roadmap, no certainty, the only thing I had was just a belief that I had to have more. So when I left Cyprus behind and Romania, where I'm from, I stepped into a completely new chapter. I work behind the bars, I work in hotels, in call centers, I work as an interpreter, and then I start studying administration, business management, psychology, just finished my degree in social science. So at that time, nothing seems to be connected. But looking back, every experience was preparing me for something bigger. So the whole journey, the whole story is between moving from where I was to where I am. And those steps have taken into place by adding
Yeah,
things.
well, hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Please carry on.
Yeah. Yeah. So eventually, when I moved into the property and I built a strong career in with big brands like Remax and Purple Bricks in UK, it kind of led into opening up and creating the lead to leap, which was the method we talk about, and that's the business that runs itself alongside the Braveheart Property Group, which is the other one in the property side. And this is not a webinar. This is all about helping people understand that the bigger obstacle between where you are and where you want to be is rarely the lack of opportunity. And most of the time, it's the lack of belief. So the lead to lead method is built around one core item: the life you want begin when you become the person you are capable of doing it. So the chance to have this presentation today, it's about, you should feel about like personal. It should be inspiring you, and but also to be practical and transformational, because that's the whole point. You know, become more self-aware, understanding what's holding you back, and those practical steps are about helping you with the hope and then belief, understanding that that can change. You know, it does not happen overnight, but it moves into that. So that's where the real problem stands, if you can call it a problem.
That's a great explanation, Christian. We are in this space in the UK or internationally. Some people they are not strong in the by their mind or wanted to do, or always laid back, and they don't want to try something new. Always have a fear of change. How your method can help those people to get back to their faith, like, okay, they will not fear of change, they will change their situation based on your method.
So it's a great question. However, the real problem most people think they have a business problem. they think they have a money problem, or they think they have a strategy or marketing problem, and we both know how that works. But most don't. They have a belief problem, and that's what the story they keep telling themselves, that to create the reality of the experience, or they're going to say, look, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not qualified, I'm too qualified, I'm not ready, it's too late. And the most important one is, what if I fail? So when the lead to leap comes into place, it's about, what if you win? Those stories are becoming the invisible ceiling. You need to have to break through those ceiling, because those are creating the limitation, the visible one. You can see that a lot, but you cannot do much, because that invisible ceiling is holding you back. You keep hitting that limitation because you work harder, you try more, you learn more, but somehow, somewhere, you keep ending up in the same place. And the question, the why, which I always like to ask, the 7 whys, I call it, that lead to leap method, is because your identity, it's what determines your actions, and your actions determine your results, and the results reinforce your identity. So if your identity is wrong, how do you expect to have the right results, if something that you don't believe, it's not there? So lead to leap, it's not, like I said, a business framework. It's about that transformation. It's about, before you lead a business, before you lead a team, before you even have that vision, you must first learn how to lead yourself, because the journey starts always within self leadership, self esteem, self understanding. So that's why leap happens when you stop waiting and you start moving. That's why I love the action. I'm an action taker. Everything comes with the action. So the step 1 in this thing is that awareness. Starts with awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. That's why
Mhm,
we put those glasses to
mhm,
see better. But if I take your glasses, I put it on my face, and we change the glasses, what we're going to see? Probably nothing, because we look through the wrong lenses. So that's why
mhm,
it's important to be aware, because we have the tendency to focus on the symptoms, rather than identify the root cause. So we blame, oh, I need to change my glasses, that's why I can't see properly. Or I don't know, the computer, the camera is not right. Can you see me okay? It's like, I don't think so. I'm going to stop the conversation right now, because people are going to think that I'm a fool. But instead of having these identity issues, why don't you ask yourself this question? What story am I telling myself right now? What
mhm,
belief is holding me back? Because that awareness creates a choice. And when you
mhm,
have the choice, creates the change. And when the change comes in, it moves into the second step, which is responsibility.
mhm. Yes,
And we are so scared of responsibility.
that's a great explanation, Christian. And I wanted to refer to your previous uh, uh, story that you came to the UK.
Mm,
Similar like me, I came to the UK as an international student. So you probably came here for something else, but you changed your viewpoints, you change your situation, you change your status, all thing based on your courage, based on how you wanted to change yourself. And I have seen,
mm,
I'm working with neurodivergent people, I work with business people. Mostly, one thing they think about, can they do it? And then if they do it, how people will react. Okay,
mm,
so these two things, I think, keeping everyone behind rather than a change. So when I started my uh, graduation, it was long time after my brain tumor surgery,
mm,
and I asked myself, can I do it? And I got the answer, yes, I can. But people around me, they were dragging my feet off, like, okay, you cannot do it because you are old, you don't need to do, okay, go into the study because you have a brain tumor surgery, you cannot take it.
yeah,
Okay, but I did not focus on those things. I only
exactly. Yeah.
thought that, okay, I need a change. So in your situation, how did you implement your live to live method within your working life? How did you implement Lead2Leap method within your working life?
Well, the thing is that one of the things that I was talking about earlier on step 2 is that this is where you take responsibility. So with the minute I chose that it's my responsibility for everything that happens into my life, and this was not about the blame, it was about ownership. That's where the power begins. So the moment you stop waiting for the circumstances to change and you change, then the circumstances changes. And Wayne Dyer said this very well. The minute you stop looking at things, or you look at things differently, the things you look at different already. So you may not control everything that happens, but you always control what you do next. So that's where I created my understanding. That's where the vision kicked in, because most of the people, they know what they don't want, but nobody's focusing on what they want. Say, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that. But are you clear on decisions that you are taking it? Because taking a decision is quite difficult. Motivation disappears. So that where discipline comes in, and the progress slows down if you don't have that discipline. And the direction is creating momentum. So I ask myself this question: what do I want to build? Who do I want to become? And that's where the identity, which is a step 4, starting to place. Because the one of the most important part is to have that identity. When you know who you are, that's where you create your reality. Your inner reality is what you see outside. And most of the time we just looking to blame other people. So if you see yourself as somebody who struggles, then you're going to struggle. If you see yourself as somebody who wants to be successful, then you begin to act in a different way. So
I
the
totally
question
agree.
is not, yeah, the question is not what do I want? The question is who do I want? I need to become to
Mhm.
have those results. You need to change who you are in order to have what you want or need.
I totally agree with you. And another thing that we normally, when we work with executives or work with people, we normally give these examples that maybe you are not in the right situation to
Mm,
accept the change, but with your with your coach, they can hold your hands. And you gave the example rightfully that my glasses will not fit with you, but if I am having a trouble with my glasses, if you hold my hands, you can lead me the right direction.
exactly, yes. Yeah, well, you see, but that belief it comes in place because in order for me or you to take that step to allow you to guide me, I need to believe, and belief comes before evidence. People are looking for evidence before start believing in something. So that's
Mhm.
why most of the people wait to feel confident before taking action, before reaching out to a coach or a mentor or a consultant or a friend. So that's why successful people take action before they're convinced that confidence arrives. So when I moved into Scotland 19 years ago, I had no evidence. I barely knew those people when I came here. And, I just only believed that it's going to happen. And action has created those results. The results have strengthened my belief. I failed so many times, but belief is the one who starts the cycle. And that's where the action comes in, which is step number 6. Because knowledge without action changes anything. We both study a lot. We had degrees in different places and courses and certificates and all that. But many people get stuck because they keep preparing, they keep studying, they keep doing it, but they keep researching, they keep planning, they keep waiting for the right moment. Action clears clarity. You learn something, you need to action it straight away. You move, then you create the momentum. So you need to avoiding right now, because that's going to create the next step, which is the consistency.
I
Success is
totally agree.
rarely dramatic. It doesn't happen overnight. People want, oh, let's do it now. I want the results to happen tomorrow or today. Success is usually repetition, and it takes a year after year after year and day after day after day. And start with a small action, and usually start with what you put in your head. Because when you repeat that daily, you repeat weekly, you repeat monthly, then it's going to go to the next level. And most of the people quit way too early. They
Mhm.
consist. They like, oh, it happened, this is not for me, I'm going to start something else. And they start something else, and they start something else. But consistency builds trust, it builds confidence, and then it's going to bring the results you're looking for. That's why it's important to understand that discipline is more important than motivation. Action is more important than preparation.
And it's a normal belief that when you're researching, you can research now in the era of AI, ChatGPT, or Copilot, a lot of different tools. But when you keep researching and researching and researching, you are not executing them, then you don't get the results because you don't know the research you have done. And when you analyze them and then implement them or execute them, you might get a different result, maybe worst or maybe good. And based on that, you can progress. So my next question to you would be, there's 10-step lead-to-leap method. Can you explain from step 1 to step 10?
Sure. So when we were talking through the conversation, I was already going through those steps, and that's why I was blending them in. So I reached out during the conversation we had. We reached step 8. So I'm going to go through the last 3 before I'm going to actually highlight each one again. But we were talking about that consistency and the discipline. And on step number 8 was the resilience, because life will test you. We'll go through different operations, different failures. The business will test you. The family will test you. The relationship will test you more than anything. The plans will fail. People will disappoint you. That's a fact. The question is not whether the challenge will come, it's what you're going to do when the challenge is coming. How you're going to react to it. You're going to continue or you're going to quit. So that's why the resilience is refusing to quit, to move forward. And one thing that people don't understand is that, and this is leading to the next step, is you cannot do it on your own. That's why you need to create a community of people that they think the same, they want the same, they don't quit easily. So that's why your environment matters, who you spend time with. That's why they say, who are the 5 people around you? And I expanded to 10. And then how many people you can say that are your best friends? How many people are in the circle that you say, those are people that I trust, I can do business with? So this is where you expand your thinking, or you limit. Depends which way you want to go, because you choose the people to they are telling the truth or they're lying, or or they keep you raised or they keep you low. It's not one of those things, because if they inspire your growth and they take actions, then the environment shapes your destiny. And this is where leads into the last step, which it's about that you create the long-standing legacy. People looking, I want to build an empire. If you look at the history, all the empires have failed because they were based on the power rather than the action and nice, easy, structured movement. So success is not about you. At some point, your growth becomes somebody else's permission. Your example becomes somebody else's hope. And for me, legacy is my daughter, Sophia. I'm doing it because it matters what she's going to take from here. The business matters, the achievement matters, the certificate matters to a certain extent, but showing her that possibilities matters are more important. So that's why the legacy is what remains after the applause is end. When you go out after, let's say, having this presentation, you're so excited, your ego kicks in. I'm going to be presented. I'm famous and all that. But when you come out, how do you feel? Do you feel that you bring something valuable? Are people getting something out of it? Because and right things. This is an exercise I do myself, and I encourage the people that are looking right now. Just ask yourself these 4 questions before I'm going to go back and tell you the 10 steps again. It's what belief have been limited me right now? What decision have I been avoiding for the last month, year, whatever? What action can I take within 24 hours to change that? And who do I need to become? Because those 4 are so important. So when you look at the 10 steps that Lead2Leap is creating, it's 1 is the awareness, where you are. 2nd is responsibility. The 3rd one is about the vision, how clear you are. Do you know where you're going, what you're going to do? The 1 is identify who you are, which is crucial. Identity is so important. then you have to believe in that identity, who you want to become. You need to bring it from the future into the present, and then you move into taking action based on what you created. And that's where you need to stay consistent, because the consistency, that's step number 7, which you need to carry on regardless of the things that are happening. Because like I said, you build confidence, you build the trust, and it's never too early. So that just goes into the step 8, which is the resilience. Okay. And the resilience comes to just put everything together, and putting that together comes into the step 9, which is the community you create. So community can be a small one or a big one, depending on how much you want to make an impact. People are looking like, I want to become famous. People, why do you want to become famous? Because you can become very famous within your family, and you can be that person who has changed the shift from a poor background to become into creating something different from your family. That's enough. That community, it's enough for you. Some people want like Tony Robbins or I don't know, Wayne Dyer, just to reach out to millions of people, which is great because they can do like Dalai Lama or Buddha or Muhammad Gandhi and all these people. They can create lots of great things. That's where the legacy comes in, which is a step number 10. You want to create a legacy, which is great. But ask yourself those 4 questions. What belief is limiting me now? What decision do I need to I've been avoiding? What action can I take in the next 24 hours to change that? And who do I need to become to get there?
That's a great explanation,
Yeah.
Cristian. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to talk to you regarding a few key steps here. We talk about resilience. When you are within a community or within a family atmosphere,
Yes.
sometimes we think that we don't feel enough courage. Okay, and
Yeah.
when we have courage, we come out and we do our things differently. How we can be better placed ourselves to maintain the resilience to become successful?
That's a very good question, because most of the time the environment that keep us safe or hold us from being who we are is the family, the environment, because the family is being created there to keep you safe. So the minute you try to move out of that safety net, they're going to try to go, listen, you need to stay still. And I've been told, listen, you need to get a job again. You need to work on that, doing something which is within the norm. So this is what you need to be very clear in your identity. This is where resilience comes in and say, listen, I respect you, I love you, this is what I need to do. And that's what the resilience. So regardless of how many obstacles you encounter, especially from your friends and family, you have to be deciding at that time, am I strong enough to do it, or do I need somebody else to help me with it?
Mhm.
Because sometimes we do need those steps. We need the coach, the mentor, and the friend. And sometimes my mentor and my coach is my daughter.
Mhm.
That's why the family can be both identities, and the resilience kicks in.
Yeah, I totally understand what you have just mentioned here. But I can see talking to people and listening to their stories, like uh, some of your family members, they are not doing the right thing or right choice. Okay, so
Mm.
they are going with critical life change, and that also affecting you to change your behavior or to change your habits or a lot of other things or maybe
Yes.
professional, all those things. In that scenario, how can you be sure that your resilience will bring good outcome, not bad?
Very interesting way to put it that across. The thing is that one thing that people don't they need to understand is that you have to move. Sometimes you have to let people go. Sometimes even if it's a friend or a family,
Mhm.
you have to let them go, because their limit, their limitation, not yours. You don't need to fix anybody. You don't need to help anybody who doesn't want it. Resilience comes into understanding that sometimes you're going to lose friends, you're going to lose family members, and you're going to lose things ready for you. Not because they are bad people or bad things, moved into a place that you're in a different state of mind and you need to be in a different place with different people. And it's okay to go back and speak to your friends and family. You don't need to chuck them out altogether, but you just need to tell them, listen, I love you, I understand you, my direction is this way. I'll come and meet you on that level that you want to stay, no problem, but I'm still going. And it's up to you to decide if you want to come with me or if you don't. For me, that is no problem. I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. So that's why the resilience kicks in. You stick to what you believe in, the action you set on, and the identity you want to create.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. This
Thank you.
webinar will be recorded to our social media as well as our YouTube channels and Facebook. So if you wanted to watch the replay, those people, they are registered. We're going to be sending you an email with the replay, or otherwise keep an eye on our social media and you can see this replays straightforward. So my next question would be, so this is our second segment, and we wanted to talk about more about, overcoming the invisible ceilings. We talk about a lot of things happening in our life. Okay, we change our mind, we change a lot of things. We talk about we need to exit from some a relationship to become successful, or all those things. Those people, they are making problems. Okay, we need to exclude them from our journey. It could be positive, it could be negative, it doesn't matter really. So how do we overcome our barriers for these invisible ceilings? How do we identify that we need to have a change specifically?
Hold on a second, because I'm going to move into a better place. I have people coming in. So the thing is that one thing that allows you to move from one place to another is when you realize that the things you're doing right now are no longer the things that you wanted. And it just makes it easier and more convenient when you decide that, oh, listen, this is where I am, and the legacy that I want to build, it's different from what it was the last time we talked about it. So when you understand where you are and you understand who you want to become, it's easy to move and create. So that's why when I always say this, the life you want begins when you become the person capable of creating it.
Yeah.
You have to become that person because you should understand that the greatest self-awareness is something that is going to take you to the next level. But clear understanding of what is holding you back is going to allow you to propel to the next level. And the minute you understand the practical steps that you need to take to get there, hope will believe it's no longer something that you think about it, because you're going to become an action taker. You're going to become a person who is confident and you know exactly where you're going.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And I know that many people, they're stuck with their current scenarios. They cannot move in differently. They can think differently. They do enough research, but they cannot move their barriers to the different levels. So, to everyone, if you wanted to talk to Christian more about the Lead2Leap methods, feel free to contact him through LinkedIn and all other social media, through his website. He will be more than happy to talk to you. And if we have any barriers, talk about it. And then you need a mentor to overcome your barriers, because sometimes you cannot take that leap. But if someone holds your hand, you can close your eyes and take that leap, and that will change your life differently. And that's the way forward, I would say. And without that, no, you can't change your lives. Maybe you are very intelligent, but you're intelligent, or maybe you are very powerful, you are very wealthy, all those things, or maybe you don't have anything, you are very poor. or you don't have mental capacity. But until you decided to change your thing, no one gonna come and help you. You need to take that decision to make it happen, and then person like Cristian or many other people, they can help you to motivate you, to lead you, and guide you through. So my next question to you, Cristian, accountability.
Yes.
How important it is to change
Oh,
your situation.
this is, listen, I love when people are asking this question because it's so important. Accountability, it's not important, it's crucial to
Mhm,
everything that you do. And there are two things that you need to take into consideration. Can you keep yourself accountable,
mhm,
or do you need somebody else to keep yourself accountable? And I just came out from a really great event, which we both know, Circle Networks,
mhm,
and it's still going on. You might hear the people in the background still chatting. And two people, really great entrepreneurs and business owners, that's exactly what they were lacking, the accountability. So the
mhm,
minute you put them out of the comfort zone, like for me, I like to to push people out of the comfort zone because you just create so much. And one of the ladies that I was speaking to earlier, she was in that process of like, oh, I'm a perfectionist, I want to do this. And I was like, okay, so what did you do, what's missing? And she was like, well, I'm 98% ready. And I say, how about, this is my card, scan the card, send me your demo right now. And you could see her face, she was like, what, no, no, I'm not. I'm like, do it now. Sometimes you need that person to push you over the limit, to break to that ceiling. And just, you go like a, that's why I call lead to leap, because it's like a slingshot. Sometimes you need to be pulled back to be pushed forward.
mhm,
You need to be pulled towards that thing. So sometimes you need to bring it to you to move to the next level. So accountability, it's crucial.
mhm,
But you need to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? You need to be very aware. Again, we're going back to awareness, and very open to yourself to say, I can't do this on my own. I need somebody to come and push me, to ask me the question, the hard question, to tell me the truth, rather than tell, it's okay, it's fine, you tried, you can stay home now. No, accountability is somebody who's telling you, listen, you promised this, you said you're going to do this, have you done it? If you haven't done it, why? How can I help? It's not about criticism, it's about awareness, accountability. And I like to call it the 3 A's. When you go, you look at the things that you are, and then you go, you acknowledge, you adjust, and then you action.
mhm,
I would say every month or every quarter, depends on what you do, you go into 3D step. Stop for a minute, acknowledge where you are, adjust if it's anything that needs to be adjusted, and move into action again, and just like a cycle. Because if you don't know where you are, if you don't acknowledge what you're doing and adjust it, then the action you're going to take is just going to make it worse. So sometimes you need to cut people off and just move away from the things and move into the things that you want to do next. Nice to see you.
Uh,
And
that's a great explanation, Christian. Thank you very much to join this live webinar during your busy time, and we appreciate your time as well. So, everyone, if you want to ask any question to Christian, please feel free to ask him the question you want, or you can also ask question after these events, because the event's going to be on the
yes,
replay. So, if you want to ask anything, you can feel free to ask him. My next question, we're going to be ending our events in 5 minutes time. So my next question to you, after accountability, what most important things you would ask people to consider for your Lead to Leap method?
there are many things that I ask people, but one of the things that you kind of go back to it and kind of understand it, it's why.
Mhm,
Why are you doing what you're doing? And don't say, like I asked somebody earlier, I like to give the examples because the reality shows the truth. Why do you want to do this? And somebody say, I want to help people. Why? Because I just that kind of person. I like to help people. I'm like, well, that's not enough. So when you go into that stage where you are, ask yourself, why? Why is it so important to me? what happened? And sometimes it goes all the way to the childhood. I didn't have enough, or I was treated like this, or I wanted more and I couldn't. And the minute you understand and acknowledge that why,
Hmm.
that's where you go back to that acknowledgement, adjust, and action. You just realign yourself, you reposition yourself into the why. This is the reason why I'm going to do it, and this is what I'm going. So why it's so important to ask yourself all the time: Am I going in direction? Why am I going there? What's going to do this? What's the value I'm going to bring into it, and when I'm going to go next?
Great explanation, Christian. And thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. So, if people wanted to work with you, what the process they need to engage in?
I think that one of the ways to connect is to just don't be afraid to reach out.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask the question. Don't be afraid to come to send me a message on on LinkedIn or any social media at the time, because you can find me on I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Or you can reach out directly to me on cristianvoina.com, and I'll be more than happy to speak to you, because that is the first step you take into moving to where you want to be. Ask the hard questions and ask yourself that question: do I want to become that person, or am I just pondering? Because if you're pondering, it means you're not ready to take action. And if you take the action, you're going to stay getting stuck in that loop that you're going to go back into it. So when you reach out to me, because I'm that kind of person, I'm going to ask you the hard questions, and I'm going to expect you to be truthful to yourself. So it's going to be hard, but it's going to be so rewarding when you're going to finish.
That's the thank you very much, Christian. I just wanted to ask you the last one.
Sure.
You know that is personal space or business space. So how do you differentiate that? Okay, I have my personal growth to do, and as well as my business, as well as my community. So
Yeah.
how do you differentiate those things with your method?
Hmm. But it's a good question, because most of the entrepreneurs and business owner, they are so focused on the business that they don't realize that they are the reason why the business is not working.
Mhm.
So when I ask those seven whys, the questions that they are opening up uh, the gap between where you are and where you want to be, is to understand: is it you? Is it your mindset? Is it your limitation? Or is it the structure, the strategies and the tools that you have that are not helping your business right now? And 9 out of 10 times, it's the business owner, is the manager, is the entrepreneur, that he has reached a plateau, or he has some limitation that is holding it, rather than looking at the strategies. And the message is so important from where you are and where you want to be. So personal, it's always personal. It's always personal, because the message you put out there is your personal message through your business.
Mhm.
So the lead to lead message goes through: let's go into the business, understand why. And most of the time people don't remember why, or they started with the wrong why. And then we go back into: let's understand what's causing it. Is it you trying to keep the business, or is it you trying to let go, and you don't have the strategies and the tools in place? So it's always a mix of all of them, but mainly it's personal, because you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you started for a reason, and sometimes you forget the reason, or you get overwhelmed by all the things that you're trying to do. And we both know sometimes we try to do many things on our own rather than delegate and bring the tools and or the people into. That's why you create a community, the network, the relationship. So to go back to what I said, personal, it's always important, because the personal, the vision, the clarity goes into the business. And if
Thank
that's not clear enough, then the business is fuzzy. You're not going to see results. You're going to blame other people. You're going to see the all the efforts and the resources you put into crumbling, because you are not open enough to agree, or to say, raise your hands up, say, listen, I made a mistake. I need help now. Otherwise, everything is going to collapse.
Thank you, Cristian, and thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar. And we're going to be talking more about Lead2Leap formula or methods, and as well as bring you some more insights from Cristian. And we will plan for that from right now. And until my next live, thank you everyone for joining, and talk to you soon, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good time.